I've been a content creator for about 8 years now. First started when I was doing my online fitness business, and that's where I really developed a love for creating content. I learned that TikTok changes very quickly. What I developed and what I was able to build in 2020, the first year that it really got big, was not the same techniques and the same audience that we see in 2022, 2023. So I've adapted, but that's the fun of it. It changes pretty often. In 2020, when TikTok was really taking off, the biggest benefit you had was somebody who created content consistently, because there weren't a lot of fitness creators that weren't doing some of these more like gimmicky type, like fat loss diets and detoxes. If you were giving straight facts and science and backing it up, you were at the top of the leaderboard in terms of content creation. I was actually a part of a mentorship that was challenging us to post more on TikTok, and that competition style amongst other fitness creators was what drove me to get more consistent. I learned a ton in that time. Now on TikTok, you have so many more creators and so many good high quality creators that consistency is great, but it's not the only part of the recipe. Good information isn't the only piece that will get you there. Now what I'm starting to see is more of the personality and being able to relate to people. There are so many high level production creators out there, and I have a sense that a lot of people they like that kind of stuff, but there's also a group of people that are like, I just want to listen to somebody as if they're talking to me like on a FaceTime call. They're in their living room, they're on their couch, they're just talking to me and them on the phones sort of style. I don't know if that's the trend that's coming up in 2023, but that's definitely where I'm leaning, because I naturally lean that way. When I developed the Part-Time Creator podcast, what I wanted to be able to do was go through the motions of what a part-time creator has to do. Since I've been one for a very long time, I know the process. It's twofold. The first fold is, I think it's important, if you are a part-time creator, to record as much as you can on your phone, because you're going to have access to all your video files. If you have a computer that is able to use a high-quality editor, then I would recommend doing that. But then if you're at work, you can't edit anything. I record everything on my phone, and then if I'm batch recording, I upload it to my computer. I do all the editing there, very minimal, mostly just getting rid of silences, pauses, and then I will also add subtitles, and then I'll just export it to Dropbox, take it to my phone, and upload it through TikTok. Another style that I have that is something I rely on mostly because of how sustainable it is, just if I have an idea or I have a list of ideas that I organize through Notion, I will just pick up my phone, record that thought. That has allowed me to create content very consistently, find the perfect balance between quality and quantity, which I think is something we're always trying to figure out. How do I up my quality without decreasing my quantity, and vice versa? Volume is king, because one, it's exposure. Two, you learn so much faster the more you can put out. A piece of content that you thought was a very casual idea that might have not really blown your mind could literally go viral the next day. It's one of those things where I don't think you should waste an idea simply because you think that the quality is lower than maybe your average standard. That's one of the things that I talk a lot about with my part-time target audience is, listen guys, create as much as you can, because we don't necessarily have to waste on thinking of what's the best idea, and nor do I think it's important to worry so much about that. I've created content where I'm like, holy crap, that I had no idea that was going to go viral.
I've talked to creators who have 2 million followers, 10 million followers, another one 26 million views on a single video. It's never the video they think. It's never the video that takes them the most amount of time. It's never the one that they thought would go viral. It's usually one that they created quickly, threw it up there, and they wake up the next day and they're like, is TikTok broken? This has 26 million views. I think that's awesome advice.
My content creation process all starts with Notion. The adaptation for content creators is amazing. The fact that you can add tags to things based on the different stage that you're in with your content creation process is, to me, a revolutionary idea. That's where it all starts. I pretty much capture all my ideas there. From there, what I do is when I have time to actually sit down and either script or flesh out the idea a little bit more, I will create a bunch of different lists of, this is all ready for batch recording, this is ready for editing, so on and so forth. After I'm done recording everything, and if you're efficient, you can get a lot of videos in a 30-minute, 1-hour period. It's this idea that you need 4 hours or you need to be a full-time creator is not necessarily what you have to have. But then when I'm done creating and I'm ready to edit, most of the time I'll upload it to my computer. I'll put it in Adobe Premiere Pro. I'll do all the captions in there. And then if I don't have enough time on my computer, I take the rest of those clips and I'll put it on CapCut on my phone, the hang of it. And then from there, I just upload it. My primary social media app is TikTok right now. I'm trying to get into YouTube Shorts, but there's just too many things about it that I'm not a fan of. And then Instagram. I don't know if you saw the video I did on the predictions that I have for social media this coming year. I don't think Instagram's going to make it. That's where I'm putting most of my eggs, just because it seems to be the best return on investment. I did a lot of experimenting with YouTube Shorts the later half of last year, and it just wasn't consistent enough for me to feel that it was worth putting some extra time into. I do rank TikTok as at the top. In the little time that I was experimenting with Shorts, I noticed that the engagement is really weak, and it tends to be high highly negative as opposed to positive, where I think on TikTok you get a good mix of both. And in some cases on TikTok, you get a higher percentage of positives. And I'm not saying I need people to praise me on TikTok. I just want interaction. I want connection. I want there to be an ability to comment on someone's comment and build like a little bit more value there. So I think TikTok's going to win in the end, but I think for a little while, people are going to get excited about YouTube Shorts and try to really push that and then get sick of it unless they can find some way to improve it.
I think that's a great assessment of it. I've been using YouTube Shorts and repurposing to YouTube Shorts, but I've never had the success, never gained the following or the engagement like you mentioned, like you do on TikTok. If you look at YouTube, what do they do really well? Long form search-based video. What does TikTok do? Short form vertical video. And they can be separate. If you give people too many choices, I think one of them is going to fall to the wayside or not be as optimized. What results have you seen come from TikTok?
I originally started in fitness on TikTok. I grew that one to 51,000 followers. And the money that I was able to get from that was actually substantial in my opinion. I was actually surprised. And I attributed it all to that ability to be relatable to other people. In any other social media platform, if I made a sale, it was typically based on my services, not necessarily who I was as a person. I think the ability to build relationships on TikTok is the feature that they have that is far and beyond places like YouTube for short form video. It is true that long form content is going to build a deeper connection. Guys like Gary Vee talk about wide and deep, right? You want to go wide with your content, but you also want to go deep to try to build that relationship. You can do that on TikTok though still. If you're just if you're a consistent short form person, and then if you get something like a YouTube channel or a podcast, you can build that depth where that connection gets even stronger. That's why I think there's a stronger return on investment. Plus, I just think that when you create content for TikTok, the immediate response and the immediate feedback that you get, provided you're putting in the work, is greater than YouTube. And I think TikTok is ingenious for doing that because they understand that if they give you what you want out of your content, you're going to come back. I'm not sure that YouTube has figured out how to do that with their algorithm for shorts, nor Instagram, I don't even think is trying anymore. But no one has seemed to be able to figure out this model that TikTok has created. I watch a lot of YouTube videos that are horizontal in a vertical format because it's just how I want to hold my phone. I'm not the kind of person that's doing this in bed on the couch. I want to hold it like this, mostly because I can just do a bunch of other things like on a totally unrelated level. It's just an easier format to hold it. Sometimes I'm not even watching the video on YouTube. Like a lot of times I'm just listening to what's going on. I personally think that vertical video is best way to get started as a creator because that content is typically more digestible. If you're a new creator or you're a creator trying to build a business or build some sort of authority or following, you want to do things that create exposure. In short form, I think is way better for that. Plus, you can create a lot more short form content in a shorter amount of time than you can with something like a YouTube video. A YouTube video, typically for me, if I'm recording and editing, might take the entire week, whereas I could spend that whole time making 30 or more videos in vertical format. I just think that it's a great entry into content creation, and I think it's something that if people are consuming it that way, and those are the stats, that's how you should create the content.
I've even been uploading my long form videos onto YouTube vertical, and it takes up more phone screen space too. Short form video is great for connection, is great for engaging with somebody, because when I'm talking to somebody, I'm actually looking at them vertically. I'm not looking at, when I'm talking to you, I'm actually focused in on your eyes, on a very small focal point, and my eyes are going inward, as opposed to a movie landscape, which is more of a relaxing age. So vertical video, people think, oh, this is better because my eyes are like this. Actually, your eyes go inward. You're much more focused and you're much more engaged. This is how you talk to somebody, is looking inward on somebody. Try to look at both eyes when talking to somebody. You can only look at one.
You can't do
You're
it.
looking at a focal point. Trying to engage with people, if you're trying to create a conversation, vertical video is by far the most engaging.
I started video editing for my online fitness business. I needed to create videos, and I was using iMovie for a really long time. And then it took me about a year to finally decide on Premiere. And it was a frustrating process to learn Adobe Premiere. Don't get me wrong. It's very overwhelming at first. What I did actually, before I had this part-time creator account, I had a gaming account, and I was doing a lot of editing for that. Gaming editing is extremely fast-paced and complicated, and you got to do a lot of different stuff. I quickly burnt out on that. I also didn't want my gaming to turn into a hobby, because then it was something I was treating too seriously and it wasn't fun and relaxing. I stopped doing that, but that gave me a lot of opportunities to just dive in. I'm not the kind of person that will read a textbook and go, okay, this is how I use Premiere. It's a use case basis. So I want to learn how to do this. I'm going to go to YouTube and learn how to do it. And so I do it piece by piece. My My process now is I use Adobe for anything that I feel needs to be a little bit more complicated, something I can't do in CapCut, which in a lot of cases, just talking to my phone like this, I don't really need Premiere, but it is an easier way to bulk edit content. So if I'm doing all my batch recordings I'll record 6 videos in a day, I'll throw those on my computer and I can quickly edit those in probably 2 to 3 times as fast as I can on my phone, simply just because of real estate on a phone is so much smaller. For the most part, unless I have something that's really complicated, I just do it on my phone. Subtitles is the bare minimum because 80% of people watch their videos on silent or in public spaces where they can't hear it that well. That's been my process. Sometimes I'm just on the TikTok app, pointing and shooting, throwing on the auto captions, adding hashtags, and then going from there. Subtitles, when I heard that stat, I'm like, subtitles are an absolute must on every single video. And I've actually noticed that my engagement significantly has changed because I've included subtitles. That really changed my process. I've made that a staple in my content.
That's a huge hack, secret tip, pro tip, including subtitles. And if you look at who's taken off recently, it's been Hormozy and Gary Vee, and every video subtitles. There's a lot higher percentage of people watching video with the sound off than a lot of people think, because they're in bed at night next to their partner, they're in the bathroom, they're at school, they're at work. So including the subtitles on your video, huge pro tip.
I have an 11-month-old, and a lot of times as I'm helping her go to sleep at night, I'm watching TikToks and I can't have the sound on. So that's one of those things that I was like, wow, that's what a lot of my viewers might be doing too.
I would say the only person who's going to watch your video more than once is you. If they saw it, they didn't remember it. If they remember it, they didn't internalize it. And if they internalized it, they probably need to see it one more time to actually make a decision on it.
I was watching a ton of your videos. In fact, you were actually a great inspiration for a lot of the learning that I did when I was like, oh, wow, TikTok has changed and this guy knows everything about it. So I thought that was really cool. And so one of the things I noticed with your content is there's some videos that you make that I'm not entirely interested in. And there's some videos that like hit me right on the head. And what I have found interesting is it's not the videos that you've created that don't necessarily pertain to me that make me go, oh, okay, maybe I'm not that interested in that. You've made a connection with me by helping identify a problem that I need solved. And that carries so much more weight as a fellow creator. There's probably a ton of videos that I make that my core audience isn't super interested in, but the majority of my stuff is. And that's what I think is so cool about TikTok is that if that was on Instagram or another app, I don't think it would happen the same way.
For a long time, I was not somebody who's, I love social media and I'm going to do it. I have to do this for my business and I can help other people do it. And I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to be the reluctant creator and do it anyways, even though I'm uncomfortable. And I'm going to do a lot. I'm going to do way more than most people would. I don't know if you were following me back then, but I did 10 videos a day, every day for 1 month.
Wow.
I did 300 videos in a month.
Jeez.
And my point was to show people, guys, it's possible. You can do it. It's not that hard. What happened after I made 300 videos in a month? That was the first time I got 1 million views on a video, and I gained over 12,000 followers. And that was when my account just exploded.
Wow.
And I was telling people, volume is so important. The video that got 1 million views was no different than the 299 other videos that I made. It was just one of the videos. And then I found my style. Okay, what do people actually want from me? Okay, they want these tutorial videos, these kind of step-by-step, click-by-click instructions on how to do things was what I was doing at the time. So it allowed me to even clarify my own branding and who I was about what was actually connecting with people. It really helped me out with my brand and how I tell people about my business. It's like I give people short, click-by-click directions on how to produce short-form vertical video. As before, I was like, I'm a TikTok for business group and all these different things. It's been a journey for me too. I know. And now people look at me, they're like, 35,000 followers. Wow.
If I had to give any sort of outro, that I think I would just give my 3 favorite tips. And especially for somebody who's maybe you got on TikTok and you're not experiencing what you thought you were going to experience. I think we've all been there to a certain extent. The one thing I will say is push through all of the doubt that you have, because every resistance point you're going to hit, if you can push past that, you're going to get a benefit out of it. So when you meet resistance, just keep moving. Don't take it as a sign to either stop or slow down. Now, obviously, if your mental health is starting to physical health, that's a different story. Everyone's different, but it took me about 2 months on this new account to really get any sort of substantial reoccurring followers or reoccurring viewers. I had to tell myself during those times, this is a building phase. This is the phase where we build. We don't worry about engagement. We don't worry about any of that stuff. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is make sure that every piece of content that you create, you're thinking, how sustainable is this piece of content? can I do this multiple months and even years down the line? If I can't, then there's nothing wrong with creating that content, but it's going to be more difficult to do that more often. So always have a plan. In fitness, we used to call it the most bang for your buck for the least amount of effort. Do the workout that's going to give you the most benefit down the road without doing too much, because eventually you will burn out. Anything that you put a lot of time into, and you creating 300 videos in a month, I'm sure you can attest to what it means to be able to find sustainability long term. So that's the second thing. And the third thing I would say is always focus on building relatability, authenticity, and connection. If you're thinking about monetizing from the very beginning and you think you're going to do that right at the start, you're going to lose everyone. Based on some of the videos that I've made talking about anything that has to do with money, people are automatically turned off because they either don't know you well enough, they don't know like and trust you. Always focus on connection. Be known as the person who really connects with their audience. And then down the road, it'll be very easy to monetize because people are going to go, oh, my favorite creator, one of my favorite creators is selling merch. I'd love to buy a shirt. But if you do that in the beginning, then it'll be like, who's this person? I don't want to buy a shirt from somebody I don't know. Those would be my 3 tips just based on my experience over the last 8 years. The best place to find me, I would say, is start on TikTok, Shane_PTC. Just type that in search. I think I'm the first one that comes up. You could probably also type Shane Hubbard in if you wanted to. All you have to do is go to my TikTok,